Honestly, my mind is all over the place, so I'll just start from the beginning and try to make sense of it. My name's Mark. I'm 43, married to Anna, who's 41, and we've been together for 15 years. We have a 15-year-old daughter, Mia, who's the absolute light of my life. She's incredibly smart and already planning for college. We've been living in what I thought was a perfect little bubble of happiness here in Colorado. Our life isn't extravagant, but it's been good. I work in real estate, Anna's a nurse, and together we've built a stable, fulfilling life. Family ski trips to Breckenridge, summer hikes in the Rockies, and cozy nights at home playing board games or watching Mia's favorite Marvel movies have been our norm. Anna and I share a playful sense of humor, a love for cheesy rom-coms, and a deep commitment to supporting each other. At least, I thought we did. For most of our marriage, I truly believed Anna was happy. Sure, we've had our ups and downs, but nothing that made me question the strong foundation we built. She always told me I was her best friend and the love of her life, and I had no reason not to believe her. Then, about 2 months ago, I landed a significant client at work. His name's Alex. He's opening a boutique ski lodge and needed my team to help him find the perfect property. It was a huge opportunity for me, and I came home excited to share the news with Anna. When I mentioned Alex's name, Anna hesitated for just a moment. It wasn't long, but I noticed it. Her smile didn't quite reach her eyes. Later, when I asked if she knew him, she shrugged it off, saying, "Oh, I think I knew an Alex back in college, probably not the same guy." She laughed, but it didn't feel genuine. It seemed forced, like she was hiding something. At the time, I brushed it off. After all, we're adults. We both had lives before we met, and sometimes paths overlap. It shouldn't be a big deal. A week later, I finally met Alex in person. He walked into my office, a tall, confident guy with a magnetic smile that could instantly put people at ease. I'll admit, he was charming. The meeting went smoothly. He had a clear vision for his ski lodge, and I was genuinely excited to help him make it happen. But then, as we were wrapping up, he said something that felt like a punch to the gut. "So, you're married to Anna." Small world. I froze. My mind scrambled for context. Yeah. Do you know Anna? His smile didn't waver, but something about it shifted, just slightly. We go way back, college days. She's great. The way he said great sent an uneasy chill down my spine. It wasn't just the word, it was the tone, like it carried a private meaning I wasn't privy to. I forced a polite smile and ended the meeting, but my head was spinning. The moment Alex walked out the door, I texted Anna. Me. "Hey, random question. Are you sure you don't know my new client, Alex? He says he knows you from college." Her response came back almost instantly. "Anna, oh, weird. I guess I do remember him now. Didn't realize it was the same Alex. He was just a guy in my friend group. No big deal." Her reply felt too smooth, like she'd rehearsed it. But again, I convinced myself I was overthinking. People forget details from years ago, right? Except things started to change. Anna suddenly seemed a lot more curious about my work, asking questions about Alex and the project, something she usually didn't do. She started checking her phone more often, swiping away notifications the moment I walked into the room. She even began wearing makeup regularly, a habit she'd dropped years ago, except for special occasions. I tried to tell myself it was all in my head, that I was being paranoid. Then I found the letter. It was late one night while Anna was asleep. I was digging through some old boxes in the garage looking for Mia's baby photos to include in her college scrapbook. One box was labeled with Anna's name, filled with old journals, ticket stubs, and keepsakes from her college years. That's where I found it. A crumpled, yellowing letter, folded inside a journal. The handwriting was unmistakably Anna's, and it was addressed to Alex. I don't know why I opened it. Maybe I already knew, deep down, what I was going to find. The letter wasn't long, but it didn't have to be. In it, Anna confessed to cheating on her boyfriend, me, earlier in our relationship with Alex. She wrote about the thrill of it, the guilt that consumed her, and how she couldn't bring herself to tell me because she didn't want to destroy what we had. I felt like the ground had vanished beneath me. My hands trembled as I read it again, praying I'd misunderstood. But the words were clear. My wife had cheated on me with Alex, the man who had now my client. The man who had just sat in my office, grinning like he owned the world. I didn't sleep that night. I couldn't bring myself to confront Anna. Not yet. I needed time to process, to figure out what the hell to do next. But one thing was certain. I couldn't trust her anymore. And I wasn't about to let Alex walk back into her life without getting to the bottom of what was really happening. The morning after I found the letter, I felt like a stranger in my own home. Anna was in the kitchen, humming softly as she poured coffee, completely unaware of the storm churning inside me. I couldn't look at her the same way. When I kissed her on the cheek like I always did, it felt hollow, mechanical, as if I was just going through the motions. I knew I couldn't confront her. Not yet. If I did, she'd deny it or twist things in a way that made me second-guess myself. I needed clarity. Proof that whatever had happened with Alex was in the past, or worst-case scenario, proof that it wasn't. Step one was figuring out how far this went. I started paying closer attention to Anna. When she left her phone on the counter, I noticed how often it buzzed. When she left to run errands, I timed how long she was gone. I even went through our shared credit card statements looking for anything unusual. Hotel bookings, fancy dinners, unexpected purchases. At first, everything seemed normal. Until it didn't. One afternoon, while Anna was at work, I found myself back in the garage with that same box. I knew it was wrong to dig through her things, but the feeling that she was hiding something wouldn't leave me. And I was right. Inside, I found a stack of old photos tucked into one of her journals. Most of them were harmless. Typical college memories, group photos, candid shots with friends. But one picture made my stomach drop. It was Anna and Alex, their arms wrapped around each other, both grinning at the camera. His hand rested on her waist, low enough to leave no question about the nature of their relationship. On the back, in Anna's handwriting, were the words, "Me and Alex, senior year." The words... I stared at the photo, my thoughts spinning. Finding the letter had been bad enough. But this? This felt more personal, more intimate. My initial urge was to confront her immediately, but instead I put everything back exactly as I'd found it. I couldn't let her know I'd seen it. Not yet. My next step was Alex. I needed to know if he was still a factor, or worse, if they'd been in contact. I started paying closer attention to Anna whenever his name came up. The changes were subtle, but they were there. She fidgeted more, her voice took on a higher pitch, and one evening at dinner she made an excuse to leave the room when I casually mentioned him. That's when I decided to check her phone. I hated myself for even considering it. Snooping wasn't who I was, or at least it hadn't been. But the doubt, the betrayal, made me feel like I didn't have a choice. Late one night while Anna was asleep, I grabbed her phone from the nightstand and locked myself in the bathroom. My hands trembled as I entered her passcode, a code she'd given me years ago and never changed. At first, everything seemed normal. No text from Alex, no suspicious emails. But then I opened her social media. Buried in her Instagram DMs was a thread from Alex. The messages weren't extensive or recent, just a few casual exchanges from about a month ago. But one message stopped me cold. "Alex, it's been so long, we should catch up, maybe grab a coffee." Anna, maybe. Things are pretty busy with work and Mia, but I'll let you know. The conversation wasn't incriminating by itself, but it felt off. Like she was testing the waters. And then my thoughts turned to Mia. If Anna had been unfaithful in the early days of our relationship, could there be more to the story? Could Alex somehow be connected to my daughter? The idea felt ridiculous, horrifying, but once it crept into my mind, I couldn't shake it. The next day, I ordered a DNA test kit online. It was a desperate move, and I hated myself for even considering it. But if Mia wasn't mine, I needed time to process before confronting Anna. Why? I was spiraling, and I knew it. Every smile from Anna felt forced. Every kiss goodbye felt like a lie. The woman I'd trusted for 15 years suddenly felt like a stranger. I needed answers, and I wouldn't stop until I had them. The DNA test kit arrived a few days later in a plain, nondescript package. I tucked it away in my office, waiting for the right moment to use it. Every time I looked at Mia, a wave of guilt and doubt washed over me. She had my eyes, my smile, or at least I thought she did. I didn't know what to believe anymore. But before I could bring myself to swap her toothbrush or snag a stray hair, Something else happened. Alex made his move. It started with an email, not to Anna, to me. His name popped up in my inbox one evening as I was reviewing property specs for his ski lodge project. The subject line was innocent enough. Quick question about the lodge. But the content, anything but. Mark, I've been thinking, and I need to be honest with you. Working with you has been more complicated than I anticipated. Seeing Anna again has stirred up a lot of old feelings, and I can't pretend they're not there. I'm sure she hasn't told you this, but we had something special once, and if I'm being honest, I think we still do. Uh, you're a great guy, and I don't want to come between you two, but maybe it's time for all of us to have an honest conversation. Let me know when you're ready. I nearly threw my laptop across the room. I stared at the screen, my pulse pounding in my ears. This wasn't just a jab. It was a calculated power move. He wasn't just trying to stir the pot. He was testing me, pushing to see how much I knew. My first instinct was to storm into Anna's workplace, slam the email down in front of her, and demand answers. But I stopped myself. If I was going to confront her, it had to be on my terms, not his. Instead, I picked up the phone and called him. The line rang 3 times before he answered. "Mark," he said smoothly, like we were old friends. "Didn't expect to hear from you so soon." "Cut the crap, Alex," I snapped. "What the hell is this email supposed to mean?" He laughed. A smug, infuriating sound. "Exactly what it says. Look, man, I'm not trying to fight. I just think it's time for everyone to be honest about what's going on." "There's nothing going on," I growled. "Stay away from my wife." "Your wife?" he shot back, his tone sharper now. "Mark, I hate to break it to you, but Anna and I have a history you can't erase. And if I'm being honest, I don't think it's over." That was it. I snapped. "Listen to me, you arrogant piece of crap. You're going to drop this project and stay the hell out of our lives, or I swear to God you'll regret it." He chuckled, but it was less confident this time. "And how exactly do you plan to make me regret it?" I smiled. A cold, grim smile he couldn't see. "You'd be amazed what a real estate agent can uncover about a client. Tax issues, zoning violations, little things that could tie up your precious lodge for years." "Your call, Alex." There was a long silence. Then he sighed. "Fine, I'll back off. But don't think Anna's going to thank you for this. Push her too hard and you might just push her back to me." I hung up before I said something I couldn't take back. The next day, Alex sent an email to my team formally pulling out of the project due to unforeseen circumstances. On paper, it looked like a victory. I'd managed to get him out of the picture before he could cause more damage. But his parting words echoed in my head. Would Anna forgive me? Would she even understand why I'd done what I did? I couldn't keep it to myself any longer. That evening, as we sat at the dinner table, Mia chattered about a school project and Anna smiled like everything was fine. I couldn't hold it in. "We need to talk," I said, my voice cutting through the conversation like a blade. Anna froze, her fork halfway to her mouth. "Now? Now?" Mia glanced between us, confused. "What's going on?" "It's grown-up stuff," I said, forcing calm into my voice. "Why don't you go upstairs?" She frowned, but grabbed her plate and headed to her room. As soon as the door shut, I pulled out my phone and slid it across the table. "Care to explain this?" I said. Anna's face drained of color as she read Alex's email. "Mark, Don't lie to me," I interrupted. "I know about the letter. I know about Alex. I know you cheated on me." Her jaw dropped. "You went through my things? Are you seriously trying to turn this on me?" I snapped. "You cheated, Anna. You lied to me. And now Alex thinks he can waltz back into your life? How long has this been going on?" "It hasn't," she cried, tears spilling down her cheeks. "Mark, I swear nothing's happening now. That was years ago. Before we were even married, it was a mistake, and I've regretted it every day since." "And then why didn't you tell me?" My voice cracked, despite my best efforts to stay composed. "Because I didn't want to lose you," she shouted. Scared. Okay, I love you, Mark. I always have. Her words hit me like a freight train. I didn't know what to say, didn't know what to feel. All I knew was that the woman sitting across from me wasn't the same person I thought I'd married. And for the first time in 15 years, I wasn't sure if we could survive this. After our explosive argument at dinner, the house felt like a battleground. Anna stayed locked in the bedroom, crying quietly, while I spent the night on the couch, staring at the ceiling and replaying everything she'd said. A part of me wanted to believe her that it was a one-time mistake, buried in the past, but another part couldn't get Alex's smug smile or the memory of that letter out of my head. It felt like my entire marriage had been a lie. The next morning, I was still on the couch when Mia came downstairs. She paused when she saw me, frowning. "Dad, what's going on? You and Mom were yelling last night." "It's complicated, sweetheart," I said, trying to sound reassuring. "Your mom and I are just working through some things." "Is it about that guy?" she asked. My stomach sank. "What guy?" "The one who came to the house a couple of weeks ago." "Alex, I think." Mom was acting weird after he left." My heart started racing. "What do you mean, weird?" Mia shrugged, clearly uncomfortable. "I don't know. She just seemed distracted. She was on her phone a lot more, and she kept saying she needed space. I thought maybe she was just stressed." I clenched my jaw, trying to keep my voice steady. "Did she say anything else about Alex?" She shook her head. "No." "But if you and Mom are fighting because of him, I don't want to talk to her about it. It's too weird." "Okay," I said, forcing a smile. "Thanks for telling me." As soon as Mia left for school, I went upstairs to confront Anna. She was sitting on the bed, her face swollen from crying, clutching one of Mia's old stuffed animals, a habit she had whenever she was overwhelmed. "We need to talk," I said, standing in the doorway. She didn't look up. "I don't want to fight anymore, Mark." "Good," I said, stepping into the room, "because I'm not here to fight. I'm here for the truth. All of it." She sniffled, wiping her nose with her sleeve. "I already told you, it was a mistake, and it's over. I spent years trying to make it right." "Then why does Mia remember Alex coming to the house?" I asked, my voice hard. "Why does she say you've been acting weird since then?" Anna's head snapped up, her eyes wide with shock. "What? No, he didn't. He came by once, but it wasn't like that. He just wanted to talk." "Talk about what?" I demanded. "About how he thinks you two still have something special? Because that's what he told me." Her face went pale. "He said that? Don't play dumb," I snapped. "You've been lying to me for years, Anna. Why should I believe you now?" "Because I'm telling the truth," she shouted, her voice breaking. "Yes, Alex came to the house. Yes, we talked, but it was nothing. He said he wanted closure, and I told him we couldn't talk anymore. I swear, Mark, that's all it was." Oh. "Why did you tell me?" I asked, my voice rising. "Because I knew you'd react like this," she cried. "You'd dig into the past and throw it in my face. I've spent 15 years trying to make up for one stupid mistake, and now it's like none of it matters." I stood there, torn between anger and heartbreak. I wanted to believe her, but the betrayal cut too deep. "Anna," I said quietly, "if there's any part of you that still cares about this marriage, you'll give me your phone, right now." Her eyes widened in shock. "What?" "You heard me," I said. "If you've got nothing to hide, prove it." She hesitated, clutching the stuffed animal tighter. "Mark, this is insane." "Is it?" I shot back. "Because from where I'm standing, you've been hiding things from me for years. If you're not willing to be honest now, I don't see how we move forward." For a long moment, she just stared at me, her eyes a mix of anger and fear. Finally, she reached for her phone on the nightstand and handed it to me. "Here," she said, her voice trembling. "Look through it. Read every message, every email. I have nothing to hide." I took the phone and began scrolling. Most of it was exactly as she said, normal conversations with friends, coworkers, and Mia. But then I found the messages from Alex. They weren't extensive, just a few exchanges. Most were polite and short, but one caught my attention. "Anna, I don't think we should be in contact anymore. It's not fair to Mark." "Alex, fair or not, you can't deny what we had. I'll always be here if you change your mind." I handed the phone back to her, my hands trembling. "Why didn't you block him?" I asked. She looked down at her lap, fresh tears spilling onto her cheeks. "I don't know. I was scared. Scared he'd show up at my work or contact you. I thought if I ignored him, he'd go away." I let out a bitter laugh. "Well, he didn't, and now we're here." "I'm sorry," she whispered, her voice barely audible. I'm so sorry. Sorry isn't enough, I said coldly. You've lied to me, Anna. You've lied to Mia. I don't even know who you are anymore. Without another word, I turned and walked out, leaving her sobbing on the bed. I didn't know what was next for us, but one thing was clear. Whatever life we built together was shattered. The days after our mom died were the days after our argument passed in a haze. I couldn't stand being in the same house as Anna, but leaving felt like admitting defeat. Much as I hated what she'd done, part of me wasn't ready to let go. Anna stayed out of sight, either holed up in the bedroom or out running errands. That left me alone with my thoughts. And with Mia, who was starting to notice just how wrong everything was. Dad, what's going on? She asked one evening during dinner. Anna wasn't home, and the silence between bites was unbearable. It's complicated, I said, offering the same excuse I'd used before. That's not an answer, she said, crossing her arms. Are you and Mom getting a divorce? The word hit me like a punch to the gut. Divorce. The possibility I'd been avoiding, the reality I didn't want to face. I looked at Mia, her eyes filled with fear and anger, and I realized I couldn't keep brushing her off. We're having some problems, I admitted, but we're trying to figure things out. She scoffed. Yeah, sure. Mom's barely been home, and you've been acting like a zombie. Whatever's going on, it's not working. Her words stung, but she wasn't wrong. I'm sorry, Mia. I wish I had better answers, but no matter what happens, I'm here for you, always. She didn't respond. She just pushed her plate away and went upstairs. I wanted to follow her, to explain, but how could I? How could I tell my daughter her mom had betrayed me? That the life we'd built was unraveling. That night, Anna came home late. I was sitting on the couch nursing a glass of whiskey when she walked in. She looked drained, her eyes red and puffy. We need to talk, she said, lingering in the doorway. About what? I asked, not bothering to hide the bitterness in my voice. I think I should leave for a while, she said quietly. Just until we figure out what we want. What you want? I snapped. I didn't ask for any of this. But neither did I, she shot back, her voice breaking. Do you think I wanted to ruin everything? Do you think I wanted to hurt you? I've been living with this guilt for years, Mark, and now it's all come crashing down. I set my glass down and stood up, towering over her. You should have thought about that before you cheated, before you lied to me for 15 years. She flinched, but didn't argue. Instead, she nodded, her shoulders slumping. You're right. I deserve this. I'll stay with my sister for a while. Give you some space. Fine, I said coldly. Do what you need to do. The next morning, Anna packed a small bag and kissed Mia goodbye before leaving. Mia didn't take it well. Why is Mom leaving? She demanded, her voice trembling. Is it because of you? No, I said, forcing myself to stay calm. It's not about you or me. It's about her. She needs some time to think. That's bullshit, Mia yelled, tears streaming down her face. You're both being selfish and I'm stuck in the middle. She stormed upstairs, slamming her door. I wanted to go after her, to try and explain, but I knew it wouldn't help. She was hurt and confused, just like I was. The house felt emptier than ever after Anna left. Mia barely spoke to me, and when she did, it was short and filled with anger. Anna texted me a few times, asking how things were, but I couldn't bring myself to reply. Every time her name appeared on my phone, it felt like a fresh wound tearing open. I buried myself in work, trying to distract myself, but nothing helped. At night, I'd sit on the couch and stare at the family photos on the wall, wondering how everything had fallen apart, how the woman I loved had become a stranger. And then, out of nowhere, Alex called. Mark, he said, his tone infuriatingly calm. I heard Anna moved out. Just wanted to check in, see how you're holding up. I gripped the phone so hard my hand shook. Stay the hell away from me and my family, Alex. Relax, he said, chuckling. I'm not here to stir the pot. I just wanted to remind you that sometimes people make mistakes. Doesn't mean they can't be forgiven. Go to hell, I snapped, hanging up before he could say anything else. I sat there shaking, my anger boiling over. It wasn't just Alex, it was everything. The lies, the betrayal, Mia's hurt. It felt like my entire life was crumbling and there was nothing I could do to stop it. The days without Anna stretched into weeks. The house felt eerily quiet, the kind of silence that wraps itself around you and refuses to let go. Mia barely spoke to me, retreating to her room with her headphones on, shutting me out. The distance between us felt like an ever-widening chasm, deepening the ache in my chest. I was angry, hurt, and lost. But more than anything, I came home to find a letter from Anna waiting on the kitchen counter. Not a text or an email, a handwritten letter in a plain white envelope. My heart raced as I stared at it, unsure whether to open it or toss it in the trash. Eventually, I gave in, tearing it open with trembling hands. Inside was a short but raw message written in her familiar handwriting. I know I'm probably the last person you want to hear from right now, but I need to say this. I've been replaying everything I've done, and I realize I've been a coward. I've lied, hidden things, and hurt you in ways I can never take back. For that, I am so sorry. I know you're angry, and you have every right to be, but I need you to understand something. When I made that terrible mistake with Alex, I wasn't trying to hurt you. I was scared. I felt like you were pulling away, consumed by work, and I was lonely. That doesn't excuse what I did, but it's the truth. For years, I've hated myself for what I did. I convinced myself that if I loved you enough, if I worked hard enough at being a good wife and mother, I could bury it. That it wouldn't matter. But it did. It always did. And now I'm paying the price for that choice. I don't know if we can fix this, Mark. I don't know if you can ever forgive me. If there's even the smallest chance, I want to try. Not just for us, but for Mia. She deserves better than the mess we've created. If you're willing, I'd like to meet and talk. No lies, no excuses, just the truth. You deserve that much. I read the letter 3 times, my emotions cycling between anger, sorrow, and something I couldn't quite name. Hope, maybe? I hated what she'd done, but I also missed her. I missed the life we had, the laughter we shared, the way she used to feel like home. But could I forgive her? Could I trust her again? I folded the letter and slipped it back into the envelope. I didn't have the answers yet, but I knew I couldn't ignore her. Not if there was even a sliver of a chance to fix what was broken. The next day, I sent her a text. Let's talk tomorrow night. We met at a small cafe we used to frequent when we were dating. She was already there when I arrived, sitting at a corner table with her hands wrapped around a coffee mug. She looked tired, her eyes shadowed, her hair pulled into a loose bun. But when she saw me, she gave me a tentative smile. "Hi," she said, softly as I sat down. "Hi," I replied, my tone guarded. For a while, neither of us spoke. The silence between us was heavy, filled with everything we wanted to say but didn't know how to. Finally, Anna broke the ice. "Thank you for coming. I wasn't sure if you would." "I almost didn't," I admitted. "But I read your letter, and I guess I want to hear what you have to say." She nodded, her hands tightening around her mug. "Mark, I know I've hurt you. I know I've broken your trust in ways I might never be able to repair. But I want you to know that I love you. I've always loved you. And I hate myself for what I did." "Why didn't you tell me?" I asked, my voice shaking. "All those years, Anna, why didn't you just tell me the truth?" Tears welled in her eyes as she looked down. "Because I was a coward. I was terrified you'd leave me. Terrified you'd look at me the way you're looking at me now. With disgust. I thought if I buried it deep enough, if I was the perfect wife and mother, it wouldn't matter. But it did. It always mattered." I clenched my fists under the table, trying to process her words. "And Alex? Why didn't you tell me when he came back into our lives?" Her voice broke. "I didn't want to reopen old wounds. I thought I could handle it on my own. That if I ignored him, he'd go away. I see now how stupid that was. I should have told you the moment he reached out. But I didn't, and I'm sorry." Tears streamed down her face, and for a moment, I didn't know what to say. Part of me wanted to reach out and comfort her, but another part, the part that felt betrayed, held me back. "Anna," I said finally, I don't know if I can forgive you. Not yet. But for Mia's sake, I'm willing to try. Her eyes widened, and a flicker of hope replaced the sadness. Really? I nodded. But it's going to take time, and it's going to take work. If you're serious about fixing this, we need to be honest with each other about everything. I'm serious, she said, her voice steady despite her tears. I'll do whatever it takes, Mark. I just want my family back. It wasn't the resolution I'd been hoping for, but it was a step forward. And for now, that was enough. The following week, Anna and I agreed to start family therapy. It wasn't an easy decision, honestly. It felt humiliating to air our dirty laundry in front of a stranger, but I knew we couldn't move forward without help. Our first session was tense. Anna and I sat on opposite ends of the couch, avoiding eye contact, while the therapist, Dr. Harris, introduced herself and explained how the process would work. This is a safe space, she said, her voice calm and reassuring. You're here to be honest, to share how you're feeling, and to work toward understanding each other. There's no judgment here, just an opportunity to heal. Anna nodded, her hands folded tightly in her lap. I crossed my arms, feeling skeptical but willing to give it a shot. Dr. Harris started with me. Mark, can you tell me how you're feeling right now? I let out a bitter laugh. How am I feeling? Angry, betrayed, like my entire marriage has been a lie. Anna flinched, but I didn't stop. For 15 years, I thought we had something real. And now, every time I look at her, all I see are the lies. Thank you for sharing that, Dr. Harris said, her tone neutral. Anna, how does it make you feel? Anna looked down at her hands, her voice barely above a whisper. Like a failure, I ruined everything. Her words stung more than I expected. Seeing her like that, so vulnerable, so broken, made it harder to hold on to my anger. But I wasn't ready to let go of it, not yet. The session continued with Dr. Harris guiding us through a series of questions and exercises designed to help us communicate. At first, it felt awkward and forced, but as the hour went on, I found myself opening up in ways I hadn't expected. I don't know if I can trust her again, I admitted, but I want to, for Mia's sake, and because I still love her. As much as I hate what she did, I can't just turn that off. Anna's eyes filled with tears. I love you too, Mark, and I'll do whatever it takes to earn your trust back. Rebuilding trust wasn't a straight path. Some days felt like progress, like we were rediscovering each other and finding reasons to stay. Other days, the weight of betrayal came crashing back, and I'd catch myself replaying everything Alex said, everything Anna had done. But we kept going, one step at a time. Family therapy started focusing not just on Anna and me, but also on Mia. She'd been holding on to her anger, directing it at both of us in ways that were hard to navigate. Dr. Harris suggested a joint session with Mia, and I reluctantly agreed. The session started predictably tense. Mia sat cross-armed, glaring at both of us. This whole thing sucks, she said bluntly. You guys keep talking about fixing it. How do I know you won't screw up again? Her words hit me like a brick. I wanted to defend myself, to tell her this wasn't about screwing up. It was about mistakes already made. But instead, Anna spoke. Mia, you're right to be angry, Anna said, her voice calm but trembling. I made a terrible mistake, and it hurt not just your dad, but our whole family. I can't promise you that things will be perfect, but I can promise you that I'll never stop trying to make things better. For you, for your dad, and for all of us. Mia softened slightly but stayed quiet. I chimed in, choosing my words carefully. Mia, I know this is hard to understand, but your mom and I love you more than anything. That's why we're doing this. We don't want to lose our family. We want to make it stronger. For you. She looked at both of us, her lip quivering. I don't want to lose either of you. You won't, I said firmly. No matter what, we'll always be here for you. That was the turning point. It didn't magically fix everything, but it opened the door for Mia to start trusting us again. She still had moments where her anger bubbled up, but they became less frequent. Slowly, we began to heal, not just as a couple, but as a family. A few months later, the three of us stood in the backyard, surrounded by balloons and laughter, celebrating Mia's 16th birthday. The air was warm and filled with the aroma of barbecue. her favorite playlist blasting in the background as her friends laughed and played cornhole on the grass. For the first time in what felt like forever, we were smiling. Not forced, not for show, just real, unfiltered joy. Anna and I had worked hard to make the day special. We'd coordinated every detail together, from the cake, a towering chocolate monstrosity, to the decorations, and it felt like a team effort in the best way. Watching Mia beam as she opened her presents made all the struggles of the past year feel worth it. "Hey, Dad," Mia said, pulling me aside during the party. "I just want to say thanks for everything." I raised an eyebrow. "You're thanking me for a birthday party?" She rolled her eyes, but her grin stayed in place. "No, I mean, for not giving up. On Mom, on us. It's been a lot, but I'm glad you guys are still here, together." Her words hit me like a wave of warmth. "We're here because of you," I said, my voice thick with emotion. "You're the reason we kept trying." She hugged me tightly, and for a moment I couldn't speak. When she finally pulled away, she smirked. "Okay, don't get all mushy on me. It's my birthday, not a Hallmark movie." I laughed, wiping out my eyes. "Fine, but don't expect me to be this cool again until you're 30. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Tell me what you think about that story. Have a good day, and bye.